Hi, Neil here from Portana. I was going to give you a quick demo of a new upcoming feature, which is the ability to create a MicroK8s cluster directly from within Portainer. Now, this is an experimental feature and it's going to be using an experimental build. So if you follow these instructions, please do not do it on any production environment. So here I have a standalone Docker host, it just is running simple Docker server. And here on the right, I have some instructions that we're going to use. I've already installed Docker, and I'm just going to deploy a copy of Portainer using this image. So it's Portainer CI, Portainer-EE PR2323. And this will now start up a copy of Portainer running the experimental image. And from here, we can actually accept it and create ourselves an account. And after added a license key, we're presented with the Portainer page. As you can see, if we're getting started, we've just got the local Docker environment here. Now we can go into Settings, Cloud, Add Credentials, MicroK8s, and here we need to add some credentials that we're going to use to connect to the Linux servers that will deploy MicroK8s upon. Now here you have two options. You can either use a root user, and you have to have your MicroK8s servers have to have SSH that allows root login with password, or you can have a regular user, and that regular user just needs to have sudo rights. In my case, I'm just going to create a user called root, just for this first example. And here I've got a root user password, hit add credentials, and so that's added the root user. And now we can go to environments, add environment CAS, start wizard, choose MicroK8s, and now we can give it a name. So MicroK8s 1. So you can choose the credentials here. I want 3 nodes, and now we have to enter the IP address of the 3 nodes. Now again, I have 3 virtual machines, all running Ubuntu, and I'm just going to put these 3 in here as so. These are all set up as in MicroK8s HA mode, so that all 3 of them are configured as managers, and all 3 have these add-ons enabled. You can add additional add-ons if you want, like if you want to do the ingress controller or metrics server, we'll do metrics and we'll do ingress at the same time, but you can add other things as well if you need to. Once that's done, and sorry, if you already have a Kubernetes environment, you can choose to deploy a custom template seed. And what this means is if you already have a Kubernetes custom template defined in Portainer somewhere, when you add this MicroK instance, post installation of MicroK8s, we will automatically run the custom template. Now you could use that custom template to deploy things like your base image loads or set up namespaces or do whatever you need to do in order to configure this your cluster for first use. So now we go provision environment, and this will start provisioning. You can hit close and we can watch it happening over here, and it's going to wait for it to occur. We just wait for a few minutes and this will continue. You see the cluster is now being created. Cluster is created. Now we're installing the agent and waiting for the agent to respond back. Agent is now installed and Portainer is just updating itself accordingly. And then finally connecting to the agent. And done. The MicroK8s 3-node cluster has been deployed from Portainer. Now this whole process took about 5 minutes. I've obviously paused and resumed through that time to not bore you, but that cluster is now built. To the home page, you'll see here's the new MicroK8s cluster. See it's 3 nodes, so we can click on this. Click on cluster. You'll see here's the 3 MicroK8s nodes that we added and the IP addresses that we added before. And you can see she's up and running. We can also now come into the cluster setup. We should be able to install the metrics server because we deployed the metrics plugin. So there you go, metrics is already up and running. And also you can see the ingress controllers were automatically deployed or detected and configured because we also chose to install the ingress plugin for MicroK8s, as well as host path storage because we also have our host path storage configured. So you can now come back into your environments here, come into the environment, and you can see it's MicroK8s. At this stage, we have no ability to expand the number of nodes, nor do we have the ability to modify plugins post-deployment, but that's something that we'll bring when this feature eventually makes it out to market. So this is just a preview of what it is. Now let's say that you didn't want to use the root user. We can come into credentials, so settings, cloud, add another credential, so MicroK8s, and we could say non-root. And this time we'll create a user called Portainer. Now we'll use the same password. So we can put that in here again, add credentials. And this time we have to prepare the environment. So we need to open up another console window, so a new session. And this time it's for a single node. I have another server here sitting waiting. So if I add another server here and I log in as root and this password. Oops. There we go. Now we can actually go and run this command here to add a Portainer user. And we'll just use the same password as we set just before. That's done. And then give that user sudo access. And one of the things we can do is make sure that, again, SSH allows logins with password. Now we know it does because this is configured this way by the template, but still. So now we can go back into here again, go into environments, add environment, CAS again, start wizard, MicroK8s. This time we're going to be MicroK8s 2. This time we're going to use the non-root account. We're going to do one node, because we've only got one node in this case. Grab this IP address, put it in the node IP again. Again, we will add in metric server and ingress, and we will provision the environment. So this is now going to go and do a single node using non-root credentials. You can hit close again, and you'll see we're going to go wait for the second one to provision. And that second node has been added. Again, it was added as a non-root user on the host. So again, we can come into home, you can see the second node, come into the second node, go into cluster, and you'll see it's just a single node cluster. So really quick demo of using the upcoming feature to add MicroK8s clusters from within Portainer. Let us know what you think.